All right, we're back, which apparently there was some question of, as when Becky gestured to her Pikachu collection, Pikachu thought it was a Q and triggered an electrical thunderstorm over the venue, which knocked out the power. So,
My bad.
yeah,
Sorry.
well, it's all right. We made it back for round 8. We can tell you that Skylar Warfield did win that match to advance through to 6-1, I think.
I believe so. I believe the record was 5-1 going into that round.
And we've got some round 8 featured matches coming up now. Last round of the Swiss. So hopefully you stuck through that with us. If you did, thanks for your patience. Don't have anything to reward you with except more coverage, but hopefully that's what you're here for.
Yeah,
so
that's
there
what
you go.
Everybody wants.
Yeah. If you want more coverage, you should follow the channel. And honestly, if you're tired of coverage and you feel like, well, that thunderstorm was just the last straw, then you should follow the channel on your way out. Anyway, we've got round 8 matches ready to go. Players are sitting down, playing for spots in the top 8. So let's go ahead and get down to the table if things are ready. They're still shuffling up. All right, we got Damian Del Nero versus Jordan Lidsky. And we've got
Eldrazi Tron.
We do have Eldrazi Tron against Mono White Hammer. So, okay. There you go.
I'm so excited. First of all, don't know what you were like digging into in your little brain sitting at home like, what do I think I want to play this weekend? Eldrazi Tron. But I'm also here for it because sometimes, it gets boring to play 4-color or Hammer or any one of these top meta decks. And sometimes you just got to be like, what is something I can really come in here and psych people out with? And Eldrazi Tron certainly has been doing a good job as Damian is at 6-1.
Yeah, impressive display here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and check at Damian's tournament history here and see what he lost to today. It was Azorius Blue-White Control against Garrick Alphon, the Days Undoing Narsa deck that we saw earlier today. So
that does seem like a rough matchup.
Yeah, potentially, and has not played against Hammer yet today. So we'll see how this plays out. I can tell you that there are Karn Great Creators in the deck, which can be an issue for Hammer. Although with a good draw, it'll be on the board potentially ahead of that when that would be an issue. It looks, does the feature match area look a little darker than it did before?
Hey, maybe some of the lights still haven't turned on.
I wondered. Maybe that's the way it's looked all day. I'm not sure, but it definitely seems not.
We did lose all power, so yeah,
okay. Yeah, so the lights aren't back to 100%, but it's good enough to get things going. So if the players, we keep running into this scenario, the players are waiting for us, we're waiting for them. Somebody got to make a decision. I'll make it. Tell them to go.
Go.
Or maybe they're waiting for the lights to come back to full power. I don't know.
Honestly, that would be fair. With how cards look nowadays, you got to make sure that you're seeing the correct ones.
Yeah, that's what these altars, blueprint cards, everything else like this. Yeah, it is a little dark there, but that's some alternate Tron land in the expedition map. So
yep. I believe it is I'm not going to say tower. It would have been my guess based on the artwork, but that is deceptive with some of the Urza's artworks. So, see?
All right. So
Production told us it's a power plant after telling me it was a tower.
Well, so maybe the idea is you play the power plant and then the lights increase because things are better supplied to the venue.
Smart.
I don't know.
I appreciate Damian looking out for us in that way too.
Yeah. All right. So whoa, mismatched? Come on now.
Oh no.
Well, that is Tron, and this is a situation where I feel like, I know and I think many players feel like it's just so unreasonable. Eldrazi Tron actually assembling Tron on turn 3? It's just not fair.
Okay, based on somebody who started playing Modern and playing Eldrazi Tron as my deck of choice for a long time, it happens a pretty decent number of the time. It is not that difficult to assemble, especially like you kind of mulligan, not as aggressively as Green Tron, but you can still mulligan at pretty aggressively and be in a fine spot. And then like for the other times, you just have your Eldrazi Temples to kind of like tide you over until you get Tron.
All right, so here we go. Tron's going to be assembled for Damian Del Nero versus Giver of Runes and Stoneforge Mystic. And, well, there's all kinds of hurting that can come down here. Including, obviously, there's a playset of Karn the Great Creator. There's also a Karn Scion of Urza. There's two Ugin the Ineffable and an Ugin Spirit Dragon. So fairly greedy on the Planeswalker list as far as Eldrazi Tron lists go, or at least used to go.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that, but the same old package. Not playing Endbringer is just kind of sticking to Matter Reshaper, Reality Smasher, and Thought-Knot Seer, along with those good old Walking Ballistas. I guess fun fact, if we were concerned about trying to machine gun down some creatures, we are not playing Basilisk Collar for Walking Ballista, but not too bad.
We're playing against Mono White Hammer. You don't need too many. You don't need Death Touch. You just need a few counters.
That's true. I don't even think I see a Basilisk Collar in the sideboard either. So we're not even... Also, the entire sideboard for this Eldrazi Tron list is one-ups.
All right. So Giver of Runes here showing why in some cases it's an upgrade over Mother of Runes, as it can protect from colorless. And the play here is something
Karn
Jordan Lidsky is going to read.
Yep. Okay, we are allowing that to come into play. Make a construct and Relic of Progenitus. Okay. Okay.
All right. So that was some of the mana. Did we overpay for that? Because we paid for the we cast the relic. Yeah, right. We cast the relic. All right. So there's a 2/2 construct in play right now. 2 mana unused. So that's not as bad as it could have been for Jordan. Full grip here. And artifacts are still useful. There's no static ability on this Karn.
Yeah, probably not the Karn you actually were hoping to see. And that's your one-of Karn here.
Well, it's good enough, at least for the moment, to cause some trouble for Jordan.
That's true. And at least being able to make blockers when we haven't been able to draw any of our creatures quite yet, I would imagine. It's got to be kind of nice. Definitely, like, having a Planeswalker on the board in general just, like, presses the matter. But let's see what Jordan can put together. Urza Saga was the start, and we're going to go ahead and activate that Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah. Yep. Cauldron Complete into play. So that is going to be able to take down the Karn Scion, whether Damian wants to block or not. And I have to imagine that he does. Giver of Runes not going to want to give this germ protection from colorless to protect it from any sort of artifacty type thing, as that would knock off the Cauldron Complete as well.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest. But yeah, okay. Thankful, smart, not gonna do it.
You don't really need protection, right? I mean, Cauldron Complete doesn't get beat by much.
That's true.
Question, which Planeswalker was that? Yeah, that was Karn Scion of Urza. 4 mana, down tick to make a construct, which is what it did. And then we see Esper Sentinel on the board now.
Thought-Knot Seer going to come down, and coupled with that, Urza's Mine and Eldrazi Temple that was the play for turn. And we're getting to see Sigarda's Aid, Colossus Hammer, Shadow Spear, and Core Outfitter, I believe.
So 2 ways to equip the Colossus Hammer. So Damian may actually be forced to take the hammer itself. Unless...
This is a tough choice.
Yeah. I mean, Shadow Spear on top of Cauldron Complete isn't anything great.
It's not great either. Yeah. And I think that's what is actually making this decision difficult, is like, you're just like, well, maybe I wish I would have played this Thought-Knot Seer last turn so I didn't have to worry about Cauldron Complete, but it being on the field, it's large and in charge here.
Yeah, it is. So 2 equipment and 2 equippers. I'm inclined to still take the Colossus Hammer myself. I don't know what's in Damian's hand with 5 mana available. Yeah, the hammer is the choice. So Damian will write down the contents of Jordan's hand before continuing on. We'll see if he's got anything else to play with his 5 mana. For his sake, hopefully so. He's going to need something. There's a Reality Smasher. Okay.
Are we attacking with this Reality Smash? No, we can't attack.
Why
with
not?
it.
We got 2
What?
blockers.
Oh,
We got
okay,
Core Outfitter and
fair.
and our Construct and Thought-Knot Seer. I guess those are Jordan's cards.
It feels like a means to an end to attack with this Reality Smasher. We're just like, let's get in when we know that this Culture Complete is likely going to be suited up with a Shadow Spear and all of that work is going to be undone anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like we're doing anything effective by blocking, so this is this is looking tough. Eldrazi Tron 6-1, and not a deck we commonly see, but Hammer is kind of showing it what's up right now. Here's the Sigarda's Aid.
I mean, that's kind of. I mean, we see this a lot in Modern. You just get to see people who are like, "Oh, this is my deck that I'm comfortable with. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it." And sometimes just like knowledge beats out everything else.
Yeah, I mean, Eldrazi Tron isn't completely unreasonable. I did play it in the Modern RCQ I played in last month, or I guess now is. Well, I guess it was still last month technically for a couple more days. Second Esper Sentinel. All right, that's fine. Jordan Lidsky's board is just looking very strong here.
Yeah. I would say so as well. And somebody asked if this is a win and in. This is table 4 and both players at 6-1. I do believe this is a win and in into top 8.
Mm-hmm. The fact that if this is table 4 and they're playing would mean that it's not a clean cut that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Or else one of these players is trying to play for seeding. But most likely it's not a clean cut. So they are playing, and the winner will definitely make top 8. Damian trying to figure. I mean, there is an Ugin, the Spirit Dragon in the deck. That would certainly solve these problems. That's
Chalice feels so late.
Boy, that's not going to do so much. Chalice on 2. Okay.
2 to stop.
All right.
Outfitter?
I mean, Matter Reshaper. I mean, any Matter Reshaper is a cantrip when it blocks, and Damian can, even if Damian gets to 1 and then is able to find Ugin Spirit Dragon, it conceivably could square up everything as long as there's not a construct in play.
That is true.
Well, there now is, I realize, but
I mean, like Ugin doesn't out a lot of your things, so
that's true.
Could potentially still be safe.
Well, okay, so here's a Colossus Hammer off the Urza Saga onto the now very well equipped Germ, which is looking something like a 16 power, maybe.
A lot. It's a big little Germ.
All right, Damian's going to block with the minimum, it looks like. Matter Reshaper and the Construct. All right, chat suggesting that Damian Del Nero is an experienced and successful Eldrazi player, which that comes as no surprise. He is 6-1.
I think you would have to be, to be 6-1 with this deck right now would have to just be something that you're very comfortable with. Because this isn't a deck like, I'm saying this as a lover of this deck and these cards. It's kind of a mopey deck. And so to end up with positive records time and time again, playing Matter Reshaper, you got to know what you're doing at least a little bit and have a good understanding of the matchups and the format.
Matter Reshaper is mopey, says Becky Bell. Boy.
And I love Matter Reshaper.
Okay. Well, Damian Del Nero is going to need more than Matter Reshaper to recover this game. Facing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's it. All right. So Jordan Lidsky's take game 1. Damian Del Nero will try and do better, which, I mean, it's tough. Turn 3 Tron is, what you're hoping for. It was there, and Jordan Lidsky was able to win anyway. That may be a game that would have played out very differently before Culture Complete was added to the arsenal for the Hammer decks. With Luris and no Culture Complete, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that there's something to be said for like the 2 strongest cards that Damian has in this matchup just didn't show up, or did show up, but the Chalice showed up extremely late. And so it's kind of just an unfortunate way for that game to have shaken up for Damian specifically, because I don't think that this is that horrible of a matchup, because you are playing two very potent cards, even main board. And speaking of which, we do get to look at deck lists.
Yeah, so let's go here. Is Damian Del Nero's Eldrazi Tron. 3 Walking Ballistas, 4 Chalice, so certainly interaction. And then we have these powerful Planeswalkers and really I mean, you're saying Mopey, but this deck has a lot of removal. All his Dust is another inclusion that would have gone to town that game up until the end. So as long as the mana is assembled here, Damian has a lot of great cards for dealing with the hammer deck. Let's look at Jordan. Actually, we have sideboard here. Okay, let's take a look here. See more. You're right. 15 one-ofs. Wow.
15 one-ofs, and the only two that can't be searched for by Karn are going to be that Kozilek and Emrakul the Promised End.
Okay, well, I doubt those are getting boarded in here.
Yeah, doesn't seem like they're super duper necessary, but does have a lot of toolbox cards to work with because of that Karn, which a lot of the time we've talked about the difference in evolution of, I mean, you were kind of mentioning it yesterday for Pioneer, the way that a lot of people will play Karn sideboards and how they start off with like a ton of cards in the sideboard, but then like whittle down to like, well, the 4 that I realistically need are these artifacts, and then the rest are just going to continue to be main sideboard cards. Damian, though, has said, you know what? My main board already just solid. I've called it mopey, but Damian thinks it's solid. I also think it's solid, but I will continue to call it mopey as well. You can know that something is not ideal and still love it. I think everyone as a human being has likely experienced this, so I'm going to defend my statements here a little bit with that. And I think that obviously Damian has had a lot of experience with this deck and is continuing to play a lot of these artifacts, and probably has situations where these are all good. And based on how the format is kind of evolving very rapidly and people are bringing a vast variety of different decks, it's not like a lot of previous times with Karn where you really are just like, well, I want Trinisphere because everyone is playing mono red Prowess and Phoenix, and so why would I play all these other things?
All right, so here we are.
Different formats.
Game 2, Colossus Hammer in play early, a couple Tron lands, and now the Chalice comes out real fast for Damian Del Nero. And Jordan Lidsky, are you going to be able to bypass this effectively enough to take down the match, or are we looking to be game 3? Passing the turn suggests might be difficult.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pretty good start here for Damian, who I believe has a mine and a power plant, so he's waiting on a tower. Unfortunately, that isn't in hand, but we have a blast zone just in case some 1-drop does kind of get through.
Well, that certainly could happen with Urza Saga, plus this, or this hammer that's already in play, equipping to the core outfitter, or at least attempting to, but there's a Dismember to say no to that. So at the cost of a few life points, Damian will keep the 12/12 out of commission for now. How does this hammer deck react to Karn being in play? Well, the core outfitter that we just saw would still work as far as equipping. Sigarda's Aid would also still work, but Pure Steel Paladin would not, as that does change the cost of the equipment, but I believe it would still actually be equipping, so would be shut down.
Walking Ballista in play, unfortunately, doesn't work super well at taking out the 1/2 that is Stoneforge Mystic, and Cauldron Complete is going to be the card to go into hand off of that Stoneforge Mystic from Jordan. Did pretty good work in game 1, so let's see if it can do it again in game 2, you know?
Yeah, even a land here would be pretty key, because the Ballista could power up and then take down the Stoneforge Mystic, because we saw Cauldron Complete went absolutely to town in game 1. But no land here for Damian Del Nero. This is, without Tron, 3 mana is not enough to cast most of the deck. And here we are again, Cauldron Complete. And this is just a lot of pain coming across here.
Yeah.
5 damage. Damian down to 11. No play this turn cycle. Needing, well, The Ballista roll up is now that's too late. Obviously, the Cauldron's in play. All right, that's an Eldrazi Temple, but the Cauldron Complete is basically going to beat all of the actual Eldrazi. Thought-Knot Seer,
Yeah.
Matter Reshaper. It's not enough.
This is one of the places where you're, I don't know, hoping for the other Dismember.
All right, there's a Karn.
We have a lot of cards in hand, though. I'm like, oh, could we potentially get to a place where we safely Ensnaring Bridge? But we have so many cards in hand. I don't know if.
Well, so yeah, so this was a plus on Cauldron Complete to turn it into a creature.
And that takes off the germ. Well, it takes the Cauldron Complete off of the germ. Okay, nice.
This was Path to Exile. Oh, this was Path to Exile into Chalice of the Void. I see.
Oh, okay.
So that probably was inadvertent. I don't know what advantage the Hammer deck could gain from Path being in the graveyard. So this Cauldron is a creature for the whole turn cycle. So it is currently a 7/7.
I guess so.
Yeah, doing extra damage.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit potent. I think we're gonna be blocking it, shooting face, so we keep this Karn alive at least.
Yep, sounds good. Piercetool Paladin comes in. No Metalcraft currently. And not able to function as long as the card's in play anyway. And Damian, all right, well, things are better than they were before, but still needs some help.
Looks like a lot of Eldrazi in hand. And we're going to take a peek at our bunch of one-ofs sideboard. Do you think Damian pretends to sideboard for game 2?
That's funny. Yeah, probably. Is there a land in the sideboard? Is there an artifact land in Damian's sideboard?
I don't think so. Let me double check. No.
Okay. All right, Reality Smasher's in. Karn ticks up.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations where it's interesting to see somebody who obviously has a ton of experience with the deck right now saying this Karn is so important that like I could go for one of these like maybe suboptimal but still okay artifacts for my sideboard, but instead choosing to go ahead and continue to plus it and keep it safe from the creatures on board, knowing how threatening the Hammer deck can be if you do get to go ahead and use those activated abilities on these equipments.
Mm-hmm. Shadow Sphere comes to play off Stoneforge and does draw a card. Ooh, I don't know if that's a third different Tron land or not.
I think we'll find out based on how things get tapped here in just a sec, but I believe we decided that that was a power plant, so I think we have double power plant.
Okay. Skyship. Wished for into hand. It's going to come into play, and well, that's a nice one. That's going to come into play and bolt a creature or a planeswalker. Piercetool Paladin, you're out of here. Stoneforge Mystic still in play, so a Batterskull could be dropped if there was one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it unfortunately doesn't have haste, but wouldn't be able to get through Reality Smasher anyway, so always funny to see a Reality Smasher be on blocking duty, but you got to do what you got to do.
Right. So there's actually no Batterskull anyway. There's a Nettle Cyst is another germ creature in Jordan's deck. And here's another Reality Smasher. We may see one of those equip. Actually, it's just going to use Karn to equip and attack for a very impressive amount of damage here.
I believe it's going to be 6, trying to do something to protect the Stoneforge Mystic. That's a Chalice check, and we're just going to activate Stoneforge in response.
Yeah, that's probably a Blacksmith skill, I think. But yeah, countered, and oh boy, is that a lot of damage. Karn's ability to skip the crewing phase allows an extra attack there. And Reality Smasher could have gone in also, but Damian doesn't want to risk his Karn, and that is plenty anyway over the course of the next turn. And Jordan Lidsky is going to say, let's go to game 3. I'm going to go first. You're going to hopefully not have Chalice at least quite as early. Maybe not have Karn or that Karn.
Yeah.
And see how. So these are players playing for top 8. Yeah, a lot on the line here. This is a 5K event. We have the prize pool. Let's go ahead and throw that up. Let's see what's on the line here. First place does receive an invite to the regional championship in Atlanta in November.
Very
And you can
cool.
see the rest of the money and the points. The points will be season 2 will lock in after the September event. And we'll qualify some more players for the NRG championship. We need a name for the NRG championship. Do you think?
Isn't it just the NRG championship? What do you mean?
I know, but do we need a name for it? Do we need something catchier than that? I don't know.
I think I like names that explain what they are.
I guess.
I think that's actually been like kind of a fault to Magic over time, is a lot of things get named not what they really are. Like, I was very confused like when I started playing Magic and people were trying to like explain like PBTQs and PTQs and
all of them.
like I was like, this is a lot of abbreviations.
Well, that's the abbreviation's fault, though. They still describe what they
That's
are.
fair.
Let's go ahead and take a look at Jordan Lidsky's hammer deck. We didn't get around to that between the previous games. So here it is. You can see here the 1 Ginger Root that is stock appears to be in all these lists. 2 Blacksmith skills. We don't see that every single time.
Mm-hmm. And that Nettle Cyst, as you mentioned, instead of something like the Batter Skull as
Mhm.
well. And let's just go straight to sideboarding. Look at that. See the Hushbringers that maybe aren't going to be the most impactful things. I appreciate the 4 Drannith Magistrate quite a bit.
Yeah, that's certainly some work.
You watch somebody play. Oh, it's called Hollowed something, the instant that stops things that weren't cast from coming into play.
Moonlight.
Hallowed Moonlight.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a throwback to like standard
Yeah.
when everyone was playing Collected Company.
Right. No, yeah, I remember
Holy.
playing that too. Yeah, these Drannith Magistrates pretty nice against the Cascade decks and a few other things. Not going to do so much here against this Eldrazi deck. And the Hushbringers, yeah. I mean, the Hushbringers had their shot at glory last round, and they didn't quite, or maybe it was 2 rounds ago. They weren't quite up to the task. That would have been exciting, though. I was rooting for them. Here, though, they're just a sideboard card, probably not coming in. Damian, evaluating hands. No, looks like we're both keeping. Jordan on the play. Springleaf Drum, but nothing to go with it. Okay. Underway. Oh, unidentifiable Urza land.
That's like very commonly considered the unidentifiable one.
I know, but it's a picture. It's the originals. That's what's recognizable to me.
It's the one. That's the one that you and I both play with. So
yeah. Well, I play with all of them. What are you gonna do? They provided 4 of each all the way back. Those are the ones you got to use.
That's fair. Okay, you heard it here first.
I remember getting those. I got them like 1 at a time at the local game store downtown when I was younger. Because I didn't even have any purpose for having them. I was like, I want these. I want to have them all. And I bought like 1 a week for like months.
How much did they cost back then?
I don't know if they were like $1 or $2 or something. I can't remember.
Okay. So it wasn't like a big spend once a week, but it was like, why not? I'll treat myself. $1 for a Tron land. Let's go.
Okay. Cigar is 8 in play. Now we're doing some threatening stuff. Stoneforge Mystic gets wiped out, though.
Speaking of threatening stuff, Dismember.
Yeah. Oh, Damian can't do too much threatening stuff on 2 mana, 2 land, except for, I guess there could be Chalice.
Chalice?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a Chalice. That's a Pithing Needle?
Okay. We'll find out what that's naming.
I believe that's a Pithing Needle. We taking a long time to decide what we're naming as well. I mean, I guess that makes sense. There's a lot of things to name from the opponent's deck here, so
I suppose. Probably not going the Horizon Canopy. Hopefully not going a Springleaf Drum.
Hopefully not.
That would be embarrassing. Damian Del Nero, not to those levels. So, yeah, I'm not sure what is actually happening here.
Okay. Yeah, just taking a really long time to decide what to name has been confirmed. Based on 2 players writing things down, maybe we have a name now. Would like to know what it is. And the name is Inkmoth Nexus. We should have played a little game with chat. We should have been like, what do you name here? And then do, and then see what chat names and if they come up with it.
But commonly, if we were ever going to attempt something like that, the player would decide before we even got halfway through explanation of what we're going to do. It's just this time it was longer and we were unprepared for it. So, yep, another caster fail.
Chat names abandon hope. I like it.
Nice. All right, Pure Steel Paladin. Metalcraft, nowhere close. But it's on the board, and it's a good place to have it be. 1 Dismember already used. I believe Damian plays 3. Mm-hmm. So chances this Paladin survives for a while, decent chance of it.
All right. What do we got in hand? We got a Wastes. We got another land. Oh, you played a game with Devin earlier where Devin asked you how expensive some token was. I guess we could play that with how expensive is the foil waste?
I would guess under $5.
I believe it's more than that. I haven't looked actually in a really long time. Hold up.
I don't know what cards are worth anymore. All right, here's an Ornithopter closer to Metalcraft for Pure Steel Paladin. Here's a mana. Here's another mana. What do we got?
They're $11.
There you go. Player from chat. Oh, actually, someone from chat did know the answer to that.
Wow, nice.
We got 3 guesses.
Everyone's pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I was the worst out of everyone that guessed.
Let it be known that today chat beat Joe Lissette on how much is it anyway?
Well, that's probably going to be something that happens every single time we play, but certainly this one. Okay, so 2 across here for Pure Steel Paladin. This isn't too threatening yet, but boy, any equipment here from Jordan would draw 2 cards. And, well, let's see. There's a hammer costing a life point. This will be potentially a divination plus 10 extra damage.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yes, indeed.
Damian, kind of making me question why we kept this hand.
No, Jordan's thinking,
was the Dismember worth it?
Everything worked exactly as I was hoping it would. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And 12 damage comes across. I feel like my voice is going out. This is a problem.
I'm sorry. I'll talk for a second while you take a moment. I mean, the Dismember to take down like the first threat seems like reasonable as far as the keep is concerned. And obviously, if the Pithing Needle came into the deck, like it has to be something that you kind of wanted to see. But
yeah,
I'm definitely a little concerned about this keep and just like hoping that Dismember was enough to take out 1 creature. And then we are just hoping that we don't see another one.
Yeah, well, I mean, Damian certainly waste is not the way you want to develop your mana. I mean, that's in the deck for a reason, but it's not, the reason is not to be your 3rd land drop.
Yeah.
So, question from chat: would naming hammer have stopped that with Needle? No, it would not. It would stop Pure Steel equipping it, but it would not stop Sigarda's Aid.
Yeah. And we're kind of double whammying on Jordan's side of the board with both of them.
Yeah, so Damian here, even a Blast Zone that blows up for 1 to kill the hammer, Sigarda's Aid, Springleaf Drum, there's still 4 damage of Pure Steel Paladins on the board, and Damian's at 4. So, kind of just evaluating what to do here. It's hard to imagine that. Okay, there is a Blast Zone.
Okay.
Maybe I'm psychic and didn't know it.
How big is Pure Steel Paladin on its own? Isn't it 2/2?
Yeah.
Yeah, so isn't just getting attacked by both of the Pure Steel Paladins us dead anyway?
Yes, it is.
Oof.
Don't forget the Ornithopter chipping in for a 0. It's just along for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, I love it when Ornithopter gets to just be involved anyway. That's me in life. I'm the Ornithopter.
Well, All right, this is game 3, playing for a top 8 berth here. Damian does have a Karn. Okay.
Oh,
This can, well, unequipping Colossus Hammer is not going to do it.
what are we hoping to?
We can animate the Pithing Needle to block. Yeah, it is going to be the
Yep.
play.
Okay.
Nice.
Sure.
And
Now we're not dead to. Now we're
well,
dead to bear.
yeah, and
Okay.
Path to Exile takes out. I don't know how many games I've ever seen
Wow.
where it was decided by a Path to Exile on a Pithing Needle, but there you have it.
But we'll take it.
And Jordan Lidsky
Oh.
will advance to 7-1. A pretty beastly record there. And if there are some draws at the higher tables, Jordan Lidsky may find himself as one of the top seeds of the event. So congratulations to him. Damian Del Nero 6-2 with Eldrazi Tron, totally respectable, but probably not what he was hoping for. And yeah, so let's see if we can put another player in top 8. Do we have a secondary match this round?
We'll see if that secondary match is
All
still
right.
playing.
What?
Cool. Sounds like we will be going into a backup match, and it is going to be a matchup of Azorius Hammer versus Azorius Hammer.
Whoa! So hammer decks are flying.
We're
at the top of
really
the
hammer
standings here
time in
today.
this round.
Yeah, we are. So Travis Brown, Adam Saba, Hammer Mirror, a little bit accelerated as we are playing a replayed game here. Can we have 2 hammer decks in the top 8? Looks like we're guaranteed of that.
Yep, sounds like it.
Unless...
I'm a little bit sad because, yeah, a lot of people are talking about how the Eldrazi Tron deck probably has like normally a great matchup against Hammer and was probably kind of stoked to play against it. It just seems like the Hammer deck was on the play, had accelerated starts, and we just got unlucky about seeing the best 2 cards Damian's Eldrazi Tron deck has in that matchup in Karn and Chalice both games.
I haven't noticed. So when we reset, when the lightning storm wiped everything out, it looks like the camera setting has reset also because there's a crosshairs on there. But please ignore that. That's what happens when you have an owner and director who is a professional photographer. You get things like that. I mean, it's just unavoidable.
I think that's what happens when Mother Nature decides to thunderstorm at the same time as your Magic tournament.
I mean, I suppose. I suppose. All right. So I guess we should somewhat pay attention to this game as the players are starting to develop their boards. Sigarda's aid for Adam, allowing explosiveness. So, boy, my voice is getting a little shaky. I wonder how this evening is going to go.
If you just need me to talk for a long time, you let me know.
All right. So Stoneforge and Colossus Hammer in play for Travis Brown. Adam Saba rotates his deck slightly. I guess that's the preferred angle. Understandable. We all have our little quirks. I do like my deck a specific way as well.
Yeah.
Although it's more along the lines of, well, I basically just have it horizontal like Travis Brown does, except on the other side of the board. Deck in front of the left hand, not the right.
Yeah, Joe, how are you going to sing karaoke later?
Oh, that wasn't going to happen regardless. Karaoke, boy. There's something I have no interest in. I don't even like to watch other people do it.
Also, we mentioned like planes. Is that a Guru Plains?
How would I know? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. That's like an old basic land that's pretty swaggy.
Yeah, it looks nice.
All right. Definitely a Guru land confirmed. Thank you. I guess I probably could have figured that out from the signature as well. But Giver Rune's going to be the thing to be cast off of that Guru Plains. Come into play. So this is the part about like Azorius Hammer where I'm always like a little bit back and forth and trying to decide like, well, how do you really tell who's ahead when there's like just slight differences between each of these boards? And I feel like I would give the slight edge to the player with Sigarda's aid, but having Stoneforge Mystic in play is such a big leg up, it feels like.
I agree with you. I think Sigarda's aid allows Hammer to do its work. Stoneforge, I mean, we can put in Cauldron Complete, we can germ it up, and that's great and everything. But Hammer on one side, Cauldron on the other side. I'll take the Hammer side, but both players not too much going on here. Just rolling up the Urza Sagas waiting for the right opportunity to spring into action here. We may just see a couple constructs come into play. Question in the chat that's actually relevant to the energy series. If you are already qualified for the DreamHack event, you cannot play in an RCQ, but you can play in an event that awards invites like the Nerd Rage series events do now. So if your only reason for not coming today, or you're wondering if you can play in the next energy event if you already qualified, the question is yes, you can.
All right, it looks like we are in attacks for, well, maybe thinking about attacks for Adam Saba, but going to start off with potentially a Pure Steel Paladin. Looks like that will be the case coming into play. Unfortunately, we have two great... Oh, no, I was about to say we have two great ways to attach a Colossus Hammer to something, but no Colossus Hammer. And Adam was like, hold up, I got you.
All right, hammer is indeed in the play. Where is it going to go? Outfitter is going to swing in. So there are chump blockers available here. Or Travis could actually just take the damage and hope there isn't a second hammer. Block. Animate using or activate using white mana.
Mm-hmm. Play another Colossus Hammer. So maybe not exactly the thing that you wish you were doing with tapping that Stoneforge Mystic, but
right. And then Colossus Hammer moves over. Because the Stoneforge Mystic is just a 1/2, the Giver of Runes is fine, even after being dequipped. Is that, can you say that? Dequipped? Is that a word?
unequipped?
Yeah, I suppose that's better.
It's okay. I would say something like de-equipped too. So I think if you can understand what somebody is trying to say, you have successfully used language. That's my like overarching how I feel.
Wow. You were very eloquent there, and then the last word just wasn't coming.
I couldn't find it in my head. The little librarian in my head was like going through the files, and I just couldn't find it. I don't. An inexplicable moment for me.
Do
you ever have a moment like that? I had one this weekend too. I was trying to come up with the name of some place in LA to tell my brother to come visit me. And I remembered the name of a game store in that part of LA. And I was like, just look up where this game store is. And that's where we're meeting.
So there's nothing wrong with that. Urza, plus, I mean, you know your interests. You know what the landmarks are. All right, Urza Saga rolls up to 3. Pure Steel comes down.
Yeah, do you think the land base for Adam Saba is worth the same as the deck? Oh my gosh, this Inkmoth necklace. Yep, that Ornithopter is getting thrown under the bus.
It's very sick. 20 infect damage. That's a lot. That's like monkeypox times 10. And now this Pure Steel Paladin is 22 powered, but at least it's clean damage.
True.
Things are still starting to happen here now a little bit. We have at least creatures dying, creatures chump blocking, lethal threats being presented. These players trying to battle it out and make it into the top 8 here. All right. While things are developing fairly slowly here, I will admit to also having you said about parts where your brain doesn't quite function. I have my window open, my shade open, so I can have, natural light in here during the broadcast, which I don't normally have.
Yeah.
And I was using the bathroom earlier between rounds, and I was looking out the window. And I was like, oh, this is nice. Why don't I normally do this? And then I realized, well, I'm looking out the window. That means other people could be looking in. This is not a good plan.
Yeah.
And then I realized, you know what? I've done this before, and this was dumb the first time too. So there's definitely times where your brain doesn't quite kick in right away. And we have, all right, Ornithopter, for Adam, providing another flying blocker in case that is needed, which it may be.
Seems like I would assume that would be the game plan once again.
Yeah, as Inkmoth Nexus can be loaded up and then reflown. Because it's deflown by the Colossus Hammers and then it gets reflown by the activation.
Okay, I like it. Sure.
I don't know. All right. There is Nettle Cyst. That's worth a card. Also a sizable body. Well, in a normal game, with all these Colossus Hammers running around, it's actually maybe not a sizable body in these games.
Yeah. Germ coming into the party as well. Do we have a land? Ah, an Inkmoth Nexus of our own. All right. Game plan here for Saba seems to be stay alive against the incoming threat of either a very large Pure Steel Paladin or an Inkmoth Nexus.
All right, that second Sigurd is aid there for Adam. So ability to threaten the multiple equips when an equipment comes into play to dodge removal, which perhaps isn't too prevalent here.
Yeah, I can't imagine that a lot of these decks don't really play removal in the main board. And even then, sometimes you just don't even worry about bringing those Path to Exiles in unless it's really necessary.
All right, so what do we got here? We got Giver of Runes for Travis. I don't believe there are any white flyers, only artifact flyers. So if a Flying Nexus can be set up, no, I scratched that. That doesn't work anyway, because if you give your Nexus protection from artifacts, you will not. Your equipment won't work.
Yep,
Same
your
as we
equipment falls
discussed
off
earlier. So
Yeah.
that's not going to work. There's only one. I guess there's one artifact creature on Travis' side plus the Inkmoth Nexus, which you can animate. So here is an animation of Inkmoth for Adam.
First move of the Colossus Hammer to the Inkmoth Nexus. We do have an Ornithopter for Travis, though, so feeling safe, if only for a moment.
Okay, so it's probably the mana spent was probably a re-equipping here, but this is easily handled by this Inkmoth that can block and then give protection. This is actually going to kill Adam's Inkmoth Nexus at the end of the turn if Giver gives protection.
Well, the Giver has Summoning Sickness, yeah.
You're right. Okay. Both Givers have Summoning Sickness?
No, Adam Saba's is good to give protection. Travis is a Summoning Sickness.
All right. So this Inkmoth Nexus with a counter, I guess, is this okay? I guess this lives because it's once it checks, it's no longer a creature anymore, so that's fine. But it will not be able to be reactivated, reflown, re-equipped later on.
And the Sigarda's Aid was the play for Travis before just passing back to Adam, and a little bit choked on mana here as well. That drum trying to hold things down a little bit, but still a little bit difficult.
All right, there's a Nettle Cyst count there. Ornithopter blocks. All right, protection. Giver Runes finally does something. Defends, and this attack goes for naught. Travis rapidly untaps. Looks excited. Let's see. What do we got here?
Arid Mesa.
Well, I mean,
Fetch
you draw
lands
your
excite me
your
too.
second land on turn 8. Yeah, I'd be excited.
Yeah. Well, we had a second land earlier. We
Yeah,
just
I
threw
know.
it under a bus. Planes, tap 2, Pure Steel Paladin. Let's go.
All right, so now both sides fully powered with Pure Steel Paladin, Sigarda's Aid, Giver of Runes, and
We
another
can
pass.
re-equip things so fast.
Yeah, certainly an example of a stalemated game here where even playing aggressive decks, a lot in many formats or many maybe archetypes within Modern, you have two aggressive decks, even if they're the same deck, they will just kind of beat each other up and go past each other. But here, we're really seeing the players dancing around each other, and there's no breaking through as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult too, because yeah, you keep thinking like, oh, I could maybe like go for this, and then the moment you try to give one of these flyers protection, your equipment just falls off because the flyers are all colorless.
Right.
And then you don't really have the ability to be hitting in the air for as much damage as you thought.
Well, Shadow Sphere is going to change the abilities for Ornithopters to chump block anything at all. As well as draw another free card for Adam. So this is a very nice turn so far. We'll see if it results in a victory or even any kind of inroads. Esper Sentinel, Springleaf Drum. All right, there's the Shadow Spear.
Ornithopter number 2. All right. Do we have enough equipment that we could be... Yep. All right.
I would think.
Yeah, I would think now that we have like 2 Ornithopters, we could really start getting a little punchy.
Absolutely. This looks like a massive attack here. It's at least... Oh, I'm not sure how many... what size the Ornithopter is. It's probably at least 30, 35.
Yeah, gotta be pretty big here.
Well, maybe not at least 30, but certainly in the range of 30.
And I guess like one of the upsides to, like, we have the Giver and we can give her protection from white just fine. So if we try to, if the thought is to maybe block with a Pure Steel Paladin, that's not too bad for Adam.
Well, also, and we have Trample with Shadow Spear, so yeah.
We're looking at a lot of damage. 29, I believe.
All right, you got Pure Steel Paladin with 2 Colossus Hammers. You're too small. Although it will absorb a lot. All right, there is double block. All right, hit them both. Protection on the Ornithopter.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun if we then, Travis had given protection from colorless to the Pure Steel Paladin, and then the Pure Steel Paladin lost both the Colossus Hammers and the trample damage was enough?
That would have been quite an amusing way to decide this game. Well, not for Travis Brown, but it would have been for everybody else.
Yeah. Considering that neither of these players have made that mistake so far, I imagine that they're quite aware of it.
All right, the Ornithopter with 4 equipment on it. It's got to be a record.
And only does, what, 8 damage, 6 damage?
Hey, it wiped out, a creature, and, well, it didn't kill the Ornithopter, but still.
Yeah, where are we moving this stack of equipment? The whole package. Where's it going? The other Ornithopter? Okay. All right, cards in hand look to be a Memnite and another Sigarda's Aid for Travis. Which...
Memnite, Sigarda's Aid, that's not good.
Yeah, definitely not where you want to be after a turn like that. At least this Memnite gets to hold some hammers and hopefully soak up some damage.
I don't think there's enough artifacts in play to de-equip the 2 Colossus Hammers and attack with the Ornithopter. It actually is a flyer. Here's the Cauldron Complete. Okay, well, that's going to be very large as well.
Yeah. I think we're likely looking at close to the end of round 8, even though we are still just watching the time-shifted first match of these two players.
I forgot this was a replay game. You're right. But yeah, this is something where, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this about a hammer mirror, but these players, given how long game 1 is taking, may have to actually be conscious of a draw in the other 2 games.
That would be bad considering they have potential of still being live for top 8.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they conceivably. Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay.
All right. So that was game 1, finally decided there in certainly a record for Nerd Rage coverage as far as the time a hammer mirror took. But it is finally decided. We could look at, they're both Azorius hammer mirrors. Do we even need to look at the sideboards? I guess we could. Yeah,
let's just go into game 2.
All right, we'll just go game 2. Becky makes a call.
Let's go. Cauldron Complete, the thing that ends games.
Yeah, it does that quite often, doesn't it?
It definitely did for the first game of both of these rounds. So,
all right, we'll get off to a better start this game. Our Gingerbrute in for 1.
All right, now we're really cooking with gas. Fire? What's the phrase?
Gas, I think.
I thought it was gas too, and then I said it, and I was like, that didn't feel right.
Hey, you're the one that's supposed to provide the hip lingo to me. It's not the other way around. not that necessarily would count, but yeah, you have a word for us this time, or a phrase.
A word or phrase?
Yeah,
what was the last one? Have I already explained lit to you?
The first, I knew that one.
You knew lit?
The first one was tea.
Oh yeah, tea.
And you know what? After you told me that, then I saw a little thing with Daisy Ridley, and she said something about, that's the tea, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know what she's talking about. Thanks, Becky.
You're welcome. I'm really, really helping out here. I'll try to think of a new word.
I'm sure chat can get in on it, but see, I'm gonna get the avalanche of them. I just need one.
Yeah, just one, but it's impossible to ask for just one when there's 1,000 people watching. Also, if you're one of the 1,000 people watching and have a good word, the good word should be follow or subscribe. Thank you.
Ratchet. Yeah, see, I provided the word. That's right. Being reminded by the chat, it was me. I'm providing the name of the next Pokemon.
Oh wait, cap is a good one. Do you know what cap means? Like no cap?
No. Well,
okay.
Well, aside from the obvious of, that would be like the limit that you no, I don't know what it means.
Okay. No cap is like I'm not lying. And if somebody says cap, they're calling you a liar.
Okay, so that works.
That you're full of it.
All right, chat, you have done it. We don't need more. We got the one for this week for this weekend.
Now cap was a good one. Thank you.
All right, so back to this game. Things are accelerating here. Apologize to the players themselves, Travis Brown, Adam Saba. If you're coming back to rewatch this commentary later on, you're probably not thrilled, but it's round like 30 of the weekend. This is what you get.
Yeah, as we're really whittling into it, and Joe has been here for 9 hours. I gotta spice things up a little bit and keep everybody on their toes a little bit, and sometimes that means explaining some lingo and phrases, but Travis does seem to be in a pretty good position so far this game, and that is going to be simply based off of board state differences here.
Yeah, having more stuff on the board is the way to go. Cauldron Complete, we've seen, takes no prisoners. Urza Saga rolls up to 3. Colossus Hammer is often the target. There's no Sigarda's 8 in play, so it's going to need some help to equip, or maybe we're just making a construct. Looks like that's what, in fact, Travis is going to do. That construct is a big boy all on its own. And yeah, Adam really just doesn't have much going on here at all.
No, this is very different from how game 1 went, where it seemed like they were both basically doing the exact same thing, and this time we're seeing quite a different side of it here. It looks like that is going to be a Pithing Needle to name Shadow Spear.
All right.
At least that's what was indicated. If I am incorrect, production, please alert me.
No, you think you nailed that one. Or else Travis's body language was very mysterious, because that certainly looked like what he was saying.
Yeah. Also, I appreciate that the germ token looks to be a Polaroid of Travis's dog. It's very cute. If it's not a dog, I'm sorry, but it looks like a very cute dog with very perky ears. And I love when people add their pets into their magic decks and magic tokens.
All right, so Travis's dog germ hybrid token attacks across alongside Stoneforge Mystic. Inkmoth Nexus is going to animate and put a -1/-1 counter on one of those creatures, effectively for free.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Stoneforge Mystic, you will do no more damage this game unless you get equipped with a couple of Colossus Hammers, in which case then you're still lethal.
All right, yep, making sure that everything is figured out before passing the turn back. A lot of cards in hand for Adam, but as you mentioned, just not a whole lot happening on the board here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. We've been informed that because the dog is a German Shepherd, it's like a German. That's actually really cute. I like that a lot. Thank you for telling me that. Made my day.
All right. Pierce the Paladin for Adam on the board with an important card finally. Let's see. We got a Colossus Hammer to back it up. We do. Draw a card. No Metalcraft yet. And only 8 life remaining. Ugh. This is going to lead to... Let's see. Is there chump blocks required here? Not quite yet.
Not. Yeah, it depends on how much life you're really trying to save.
Mm-hmm. All right. Ginger Brute, effectively unblockable, and 6 across plus the construct. I forgot about the construct. So we're still looking at... Pierce still could block the construct and get protection from Giver Runes if Adam chooses. That would lead to no losses on the turn. That looks like what we're going to see. All right. So Adam drops to what looks like 2. And, 2 is still okay. As long as he can get something on the board or threaten lethal, which he does have Inkmoth Nexus. But there is another Nexus and an Ornithopter in the way. So that becomes pretty tricky.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. The right pieces in play. Unfortunately, the pieces on Travis's side of the board doing a good job of stopping what would be normally game finishing for Adam.
All right, Saga, which is just a mana source for now, but does lead to a recovery potentially later on if Adam can survive the next couple turns, which is asking a lot at the moment. Travis has a lot of action, still in hand. Good board position.
All right.
Trying to figure out quite how to maneuver through this turn, facing this incoming damage, and can he steal a win going back the other way?
Yeah, and I think a part of it was gonna have to just be a little bit of a gotcha. I'm trying to figure out, like, every time I think I come up with some direction, it feels like there's a good stop for it on Travis's side, and I think Adam might have run into the same problem that I am as Adam goes ahead and passes the turn.
All right, so Esper Sentinel equipped. All 3 of the creatures for Adam are white, but the Inkmoth Nexus is hanging back as well. Because there's no Giver of Runes for Travis yet, so that's not really relevant. But lots of cards in hand. 2 Stoneforges in hand.
All right, well, here's Gingy. Unblockable, except for by creatures with haste. Getting in. An Adamant 2 will at least be able to... won't be able to block the damage from that Ginger Brute.
Mm-hmm. And this turn, Adam might actually have to lose a creature. It looks like it's going to be the Pure Steel Paladin.
Oh, unless we can save it.
We can give her one of the 2. Yeah. All right. So it's going to be... Looks like the Pure Steel Paladin. So then... Oh, there's more coming. Okay. Blacksmith skill it is.
All
So
right,
maybe
we're holding on.
Maybe
we're
they give
one.
her Day protecting the Esper Sentinel there.
Yeah. Keeping it together for Adam here as... Ooh, that's a little rough. Another Stone Forge Mystic coming down. Looks like we moved Reality Chip to the front, but I feel like... Okay.
Adding a white creature to the board is pretty important here, as it ensures a block through Giver of Runes on the ground. Because there's actually 2 Stoneforge Mystics up at the top, so that was kind of maybe already covered.
Mm-hmm. Right. Adam with quite a few cards in hand and activating this Ink Moth Nexus. Thinking about activating the Ink Moth Nexus. Wow. Okay. It looks like Adam said, I have no way to stop Ginger Brew, and I'm at 1, which is very fair. And feels rough to sometimes die to the Ginger Brew, but I think if you've played against Azorius Hammer enough times, that pesky little gingerbread man does
It's probably
work.
happened. Yeah, it's probably happened to you. Yeah, Ginger Brute does surprisingly effective, and obviously there's a reason why it's in the deck. Okay, game 3, playing for top 8 in the Hammer Mirror. Let's go. Here we go. Last game with the Swiss.
Oh, we did get rid of the crosshairs. Thank you, production. And are we immediately on time? Do we only have 2 turns apiece?
No, these are 2 mulligans.
Oh, okay. That makes
We
sense.
forgive you, Becky. Don't worry.
This has to have gone on for a long time. That first game took so long that my first thought was just like, wow, we're at time already? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Chat asking a couple of questions there. That Shadow Spear couldn't be used because it was needled much earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Giver of Runes protected, which is why the creature blocking the Cauldron Complete did not die. All right, Travis going down to 5. When all this is concluded, we will step away. We'll come back. We'll have a top 8 bracket for you, and then we'll get through the elimination rounds and crown a winner for the Energy Modern 5K in St. Louis and hand an invite to Atlanta to someone, which is looking less and less likely to be Travis Brown, unfortunately, as they mull to 4 cards here.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of rough. And I mean, Adam's going to be on the play here. So being on the draw and going to 4, like you definitely want to be on the play with this deck and get off to the races. So this seems definitely like a rough situation here.
Well, last year I did play in a team event, and our Hammer player multi-5 and won a game on turn 3.
Whoa.
Stunningly. So,
okay, so it's possible.
4 cards, this isn't even 5. This is 4, but it does look like Travis is at least finding a key, probably.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what's staying in hand here.
Yeah, this is tough. 4 cards is not a lot. I'm informed by the chat that Travis Brown's actually already qualified for Atlanta, so congratulations to him. And maybe that takes some of the pressure off. Although, still
money on the line.
Oh yeah, still money, nerd rage points on the line. Sure, there's lots to play for. Just not the DreamHack qualification, which I may overrate because I had to expend some effort to get mine. So I assume other people are trying to do the same. But I guess that's not always the case, especially in Travis Brown's case. Esper Sentinel and Stoneforge Mystic, a fine start for Adam Saba here.
Yeah, this seems like I can't think of a card that I would want more to have on my side of the board when my opponent mulled to 4 than Esper Sentinel.
Cauldron Complete, Called to Hand by Adam Saba. And
that was a good little pun.
What are you talking about? I'm just describing the action.
Okay. Stoneforge Mystic forging a card from the deck. Okay, I tried. Yours was better.
Our nerd rage points legal tender, basically. You can use them to buy your way into the Energy Championship and absolutely nothing else. But that's still something valuable.
Basically a chance to compete for more money, which does track, kind of.
Mm-hmm. All right, no construct for Adam. He's just getting busy with the germ here.
They only got so much time left. Let's get this Cauldron Complete rolling.
Yes.
We didn't even put that germ in vertically. We straight put it in horizontal.
Well, we knew what was happening. So the players. All right, Urza Saga for Travis Brown. Can this 4-card hand lead to a functional state here? Ooh, well, all right. That's not bad. This card is 8.
Definitely not shabby. Oh, okay. Our players are debating about a mistrigger for Esper Sentinel. As a little bit of an update about the hand gestures back and forth here.
Well, we have had a couple rules explanations earlier today on different issues. So I can tell you, as far as mistriggers go, what defines a mistrigger when you're out of time on a mistrigger is when something else has either verbally acknowledged that it's happened or something that's physically it's shown, like if, for example, a pre-combat thing and then you attack. Well, that's something that actually happened in the game. It's too late. In this case, it looked like the Sargatis 8 came into play. I don't believe anything had happened. And there was no untap for the next turn. So okay. So what happened was the ruling was that the player verbally acknowledged it, so that's enough. And so now we can continue on, assuming we didn't disrupt the replay by switching, which I'm afraid we did. Okay, no, we're good. All right.
We just didn't want to look at the characters, the players gesturing back and forth at each other, and we knew that you would rather look at Joe and I, so that's why we came back to the booth for a second.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, I'm told that was actually a 5-minute ruling. So we have advanced the time, which we can do because of the nature of the replay of the match. So maybe these two players heard about the other judge calls we had on camera, and they were trying to see if they could beat the time discrepancy record, but they failed as we can just fast forward. Ha.
Bested this time.
So are we resuming live action? Are we resuming action yet?
Yeah, well.
Okay, so this is actually currently an attack coming across here. Cauldron Complete would just bounce off of a Cauldron Complete, right? As they are indestructible, can't take damage. Do they exile each other post? I mean, they exile each other after combat normally, but
yep, it's exile.
Deals combat damage to creature, exile the creature, but I guess if you're indestructible, you're still actually taking damage. Yeah, I think that actually is correct. So they would both wipe each other out.
Oh.
I've never witnessed that, but that's my understanding of what's going on here.
Yeah,
Are
you
we
do
still?
technically deal damage even though things are indestructible. So that does
Mhm.
make sense. I think they would do that. But I guess if we are incorrect, let us know. Sick, we're correct. Let's go. Give us the judge test.
Yeah.
Don't. Not now.
What are we sure that we actually advanced past the rules discussion? So this is just
Okay.
what's happening in this game right now.
Oh. All right. Just debates back and forth about what's happening in this game.
All right. So this game is certainly, I don't know where we're at as far as when these players were playing, as far as time in the round, but this round has only lasted a long time. This combat phase is, or that end step.
And stuff. I don't know what.
Directors told us that we had
we were in
advanced. This was
combat.
actually a turn further. I don't think that's actually correct. I think we were stuck on that judge ruling the whole time there, and our director was incorrect. But I don't actually know for sure. Either way, gameplay is finally moving again. We have a construct coming to play, and Urza Saga is going to bring out. Shadow Spirit looked inviting last game, except it was knocked out by the needle. Let's see if that's the answer this time. There are no auto equippers in play right now.
What if we Pithing Needle and name Stoneforge Mystic while the white mana is tapped?
Ooh. Well, even so, the you couldn't respond. So yeah, that would definitely work. And lock out Stoneforge from Travis Brown.
Instead, we got an Ornithopter.
All right, and a swing across. Well, now at least the pace. Yeah, boy, for a game that's been sped up time-wise, this is really taking a while to get going. Travis Brown down to 9. No play for the turn. Just planning on making a construct potentially, or dropping off Stoneforge Mystic. I wonder if that's turn 1. That dice just moved. That Travis Brown just moved a die onto the table with a 1. This is probably in turns. I wonder if that previous discussion was like whose turn was it when the player said go, and then discussion of what turn, who would start on which turn. Yeah, so that might be what the second discussion was. That was a lot of gesturing before a player untapped. All right, so we're on turn 1. There is an attack coming across. Construct. Okay, Travis takes damage down to 4. Turn 2. It's possible if the players draw that one or both of them will end up in top 8 anyway.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it's possible. It's also possible neither does, but
yes,
when you're playing the event, hard to really know about things like that. Ginger Brute.
Whoa.
Coming across.
Oh, and because it is just Travis winning off of.
Yeah, so that is done. Turn 2 of overtime. Travis does win. Travis Brown takes this match with a Ginger Brute. Again, the Ginger Brute always matters. Okay,
I think Ginger Brute is like one of the best cards in that deck, and I'm always stoked. It's like a little draft common, and I'm just like, let's go, Ginger Brute.
It's not even a draft common. It's not even playable.
It wasn't. You're right. It really was not very playable in its draft.
21 damage there for the Ginger Brute. That might be the most damage, more damage that it dealt in limited in its entire season. Anyway, that is.
I need everyone who did damage with the Ginger Brute in Throne of Eldraine draft to message me right now. My DMs are open. Only message me if you've Ginger Brute damage.
Well, you're not going to get any messages then, and you're gonna claim it's because no one knows your address, but it's actually because no one did damage with the card. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with top 8 bracket and play the elimination rounds. Thanks for sticking with us. Swiss is over. This is Nerd Rage Gaming Modern 5K. We'll be back.